Tonight, it is a firefight on 4 fronts along Colorado's Front Range. A new fire has started every day this week, and all continue to burn tonight. It has become a test of both resolve and resources, with optimism for every incremental win also tempered by the realization that with so much of Colorado being so hot and so dry, new fires beyond those 4 are likely. We're here in Jefferson County, near C-470 in Kipling, watching the Quarry Fire, which sparked last night. It was actually spotted by a deputy out on patrol when it was only 10 feet wide. Within an hour, it had grown to 50 acres. The largest fire in our state is the Alexander Mountain Fire. That's in the foothills west of Loveland. It started Monday. The Stone Canyon Fire began yesterday, just north of Lyons. It burned several homes, and today we learned 1 person was killed, 4 firefighters injured. And then just 3 hours ago, a 4th fire started near Gross Reservoir in Boulder County. So we're here at the Quarry Fire in Jefferson County. It looms over the Deer Creek Mesa neighborhood, and more than 200 acres have burned, and that was an estimate before some very active fire behavior that we saw mid-afternoon. A number of neighborhoods have been evacuated. This hilltop that we are on is kind of a safe spot. This neighborhood has not yet even been put on pre-evacuation notice, and it provides a vantage point for neighbors to watch what's going on with this fire, which through the afternoon was very aggressive, crowning through the treetops on 2 flanks, both the eastern flank right above the Deer Creek Mesa neighborhood and also toward the interior of the fire in a northward movement as it moves up behind Lockheed Mountain's Deer Creek facility. There was a relentless air assault this afternoon from more than a dozen fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters. There were drops once a minute for a period of time around 3:30 today, and that appeared to make a significant difference to get this fire to lay down. Clearly, even with so many fires burning along the Front Range, the proximity to a large number of homes made this one a priority. There are nearly 600 homes in this area that are evacuated across 5 different neighborhoods: Deer Creek Mesa, as I mentioned, Sampson, Maxwell, McKinney, and the Murphy subdivisions. All those folks have been told to get out. People in Silver Ranch and Silver Ranch South are under pre-evacuation orders. At this point, no homes have burned, no injuries have been reported. The sheriff's office is stressing that all of those neighborhoods are still at risk, and there's very little that they can do on the ground right now with this fire in such rocky terrain.
This fire is not an easy fight. The terrain is treacherous. It is very steep. That terrain is not conducive to a ground fight. It's not a fight you're going to win. We can make a dent, hopefully, but with only 75 sets of boots on the ground on that terrain, that's a tough fight.
What we witnessed this afternoon was an absolute show of force from the air. Small helicopters dipping into the Man Reservoir, which is just over the ridge behind me, an air tanker dropping thousands of gallons of fire retardant around the burn area, and other aircraft are pulling water out Chatfield Reservoir, which is just to the east of here. Chatfield is closed for the time being to make room for that operation. Our Evan Krugel has spent the day in Jefferson County talking with neighbors who have been evacuated or fear that they might be evacuated, and Evan, it's both stressful but also a relief, at least from the folks that I've talked to be able to have this vantage point to watch the fire that is threatening their homes.
Yeah, certainly mixed emotions at that area, Kyle. We spent much of the day up at that vantage point where at one point well over 100 people had gathered to watch this fire. We've now moved a couple of miles down the ridge from you. This is the roadblock at Deer Canyon Road leading into that main subdivision where a lot of those folks are right now. We have seen people lining the roads throughout this entire area, not just up at that vantage point, trying to catch a glimpse of this fire as it continues to grow this evening. As you mentioned, Kyle, about 600 homes do remain under evacuation right now. Firefighters stressing everyone in the surrounding neighborhoods should be ready to evacuate if those winds shift based on how fast this fire has been spreading. Now, we're told deputies actually went door to door in a handful of these subdivisions just after midnight. That includes the Deer Creek Mesa this morning. Essentially telling people they needed to get out immediately. We spoke with one woman, Marcia Anker, who wasn't home at the time. She hasn't been able to return home since.
I've been house sitting at my daughter's, so I wasn't at home when the evacuation came in, so I wasn't able to take anything. Fortunately, I have my dogs with me, but I'm just really sad about what's happening in our world, and right here now by me, where my house is.
Now, the county has set up an evacuation shelter. That's at Dakota Ridge High School. That's down on Coal Mine Avenue in Littleton. They have cots and snacks for people there to rest up. Even dogs and cats are allowed inside the school there this evening. Two other subdivisions do remain on pre-evacuation notice. Those are the Silver Ranch and Silver Ranch South. Again, firefighters asking anyone in this immediate vicinity to essentially be ready in case those winds shift. Kyle, we've been talking about resources and how stretched thin they are on all of these fires so far today. I can tell you just in the last 5 minutes, we just saw a fire truck from Chaffee County and the San Juan Hot Shots heading up this road into Deer Creek Canyon Park. Those locations both well over 3 hours away from here. So resources certainly starting to pour in from across the state. Kyle.
All hands on deck. Evan Krugel, thank you very much. The newest fire is also the smallest. It's burning in Boulder County near Gross Reservoir off Lakeshore Drive. Within the last 15-20 minutes, the Boulder County Sheriff's Office confirmed that 2 structures were impacted. Their words, we could see from Sky 9 that at least one of those is a home that burned today. People in the Lakeshore Drive area were told they needed to evacuate immediately. Firefighters are calling this the Lakeshore Fire. Within the last hour, firefighters said that it had grown to about 5 or 6 acres. Again, relatively small compared to the other fires, and they also said that they were able to get a good line of retardant around that fire. Our Angeline McCall is up in Boulder County at a spot that has been offered to folks who need to get out of the way of that Lakeshore Fire. Angeline?
Yeah, Kyle, we did visit that evacuation site down in Boulder, the city of Boulder. Now, there was no one there at 5 o'clock, so that evacuation site is about an hour away at least with road closures from the actual fire, and so we don't expect people to get there until later tonight. You can see all of the smoke that this fire is producing behind me. Now, we're on Flagstaff Road, and so far we've seen several fire departments come through, sheriff vehicles as well. Like Kyle, you mentioned, we know that 2 structures have been impacted, and most important to note of this fire is that it's been human caused. Now, they're not saying the exact reason right now as to what the cause was, but they have identified at least 2 people that they believe are involved in potentially starting this fire.
I don't know the exact details. It does sound like there were individuals working on a property in that area. I don't know exactly what they were doing, but we are talking to them about how the fire started.
No arrests have been made as of right now, just talking with those 2 people. Important to note too, you know, when we stopped into the evacuation center, the theme really of the conversations was PTSD. We drove through Louisville and Superior to get up here to this area where the Gross Reservoir Lakeshore Fire, as it's been called, is now burning. We haven't gotten a good vantage point, but you can just see as you're driving up areas that the Marshall Fire hit, the NCAR Fire, the Dinosaur Fire, and so people here are really on edge. Kyle?
Understandably, Angeline McCall reporting from Boulder County. Thank you, Angeline. So we have just learned late this afternoon that 4 firefighters were injured in fighting the Stone Canyon fire, which started yesterday north of Lyons, and 1 person died in that fire. The Boulder County Sheriff confirmed that human remains was found inside one of 5 structures in total that burned. We don't know yet if it was the burned out house that we saw from the air yesterday. Investigators have not released the person's name or any other details. That fire is burned nearly 1,600 acres. Firefighters did make solid progress holding the line on the south and the west sides of the Stone Canyon fire. That allowed them to lift evacuations within the town of Lyons as that fire continues to burn north and east up into more agricultural and open land. The Alexander Mountain Fire in Larimer County west of Loveland is by far the largest fire burning in Colorado right now, more than 6,800 acres. 4,000 people are under mandatory evacuation orders, another 800 prepared to go. So far, no structures have burned, though firefighters have said flames have reached the area where there are buildings and they're not able to get in to protect them. Today, the governor said that he's activated the National Guard to help where needed and that FEMA is going to cover the cost for most of these firefights. The state's public safety chief is asking all local fire departments that have set personnel out of state to fight fires elsewhere to come back and to contribute to what is going on here. We would love to get to a point where a number of these fires can be fought on the ground with hand crews. The fact remains that a number of these fires are largely aerial operations right now because of the danger it would pose to firefighters and because of the difficult terrain.